Bună dimineața și bun găsit la BU, sunt Sabina Iosub și vă spun să rămâneți pe Antena 3. O să vorbim despre lucruri extrem de importante în Uniunea Europeană. Ce se întâmplă cu Brexitul, cu Schengenul sau cu euro la noi în țară. Vorbim despre toate acestea, rămâneți pe Antena 3.
Perioada de instabilitate din Uniunea Europeană declanșată de criza Brexit nu se va termina prea curând, sunt de părere europenii. Guvernul de la Londra, condus de Theresa May, nu va declanșa procedurile de separare de blocul comunitar înainte de începutul anului următor, deschizând astfel negocieri care ar putea dura până la 2 ani. Liderii europeni avertizează pe rând că nu poate exista compromis. Dacă Marea Britanie vrea să aibă acces la piața unică, atunci va trebui să accepte libertatea de mișcare a cetățenilor europeni, a declarat Verhofstadt, care va reprezenta Parlamentul European la negocierile cu Londra. În acest climat tensionat, obiectivul României rămâne integrarea mai profundă în blocul comunitar prin intrarea în spațiul Schengen. În ciuda mesajului de susținere transmis de președintele francez François Hollande în timpul recentei vizite la București, problema este departe de a fi rezolvată. Potrivit Comisiei Europene, România a îndeplinit condițiile tehnice de aderare în spațiul de liber schimb, iar decizia finală le rămâne statelor membre.
Today here with me in the European Parliament in Strasbourg are Mr. Claude Moraes from United Kingdom. Thank you so much for being with me. And Mr. Ioan Mircea Pașcu from Romania, Vice President of the European Parliament, and also very important, a very important influencer here at the European level, someone says.
Yeah, actually it was an article published by Vote Watch, which is attributing some points to some of our colleagues, you know, and apparently I haven't been reading entirely. Apparently they mentioned also my name into that. But Claude,
What have you done?
Claude, my friend, has chaired last night the committee, his committee. Hearing of the new commissioner, and it was a very interesting commissioner on behalf of the United Kingdom, and I also had the honor to represent AFET, the Foreign Affairs Committee, and let me tell you that I listened to a long part of the session, and it was quite an important session and a successful session. If I have a personal regret, and I hope, you know, I think probably Claude is also having it, that this is, you know, only for such a short period of time.
Are you still going to exit the European Union? You know, I've asked you this before.
Sabina, you asked this some time ago, and we were very much in shock. And the United Kingdom has given a lot to the European Union. We have big connections with Romania. And the answer, unfortunately, is yes. I think we will. But it's going to be a complicated exit. And I think this is of big interest in Romania also, because we have the big free movement links. But it's not just that. I mean, this is often stereotyped, how we are only concerned about these links of work and so on. I think it's a bigger issue about the future of the European Union if a country like the United Kingdom can leave just like this. So it's a much more complicated issue. It was a very close vote. People are realizing that they voted to leave, but not really for the correct reasons. Many people regret the vote. They thought that it was just about immigration. Of course, they realise now that immigration will continue. Many thought that more money would go to the National Health Service. You may have heard of this story. Yeah. It's really clear now the National Health Service is in trouble already. No money is going there. So there's a lot of anger as well, Sabina, in the United Kingdom today. So this story of leaving is not a simple story. Also, we have not triggered Article 50, this article of the Lisbon Treaty. And, you know, we see all these extraordinary stories of ministers like David Davis, Boris Johnson, Liam Fox, the three Brexiteers they call them, who don't seem to have an idea of how we are going to leave, no plan. So, you know, it doesn't mean that we are not going to leave, but it does mean that a big country like the United Kingdom, with all of its history, doesn't seem to have a plan yet as to how it leaves this extraordinary thing called the European Union after 40 years. So that's a real problem. So I think people in Romania have every right to say what on earth is going on? It's what we're saying also. Meanwhile, we have to be here, as my good colleague, Vice President Pascoe is saying, that we continue our jobs, but it's very tough to do so.
What about the rest of 27 states? Do we have a plan after United Kingdom's exit? They don't. That's for sure. They don't have an exact exit plan. But do we, the rest, have one?
Well, I do not know whether we have at the level of the Union, but I assume, that some countries do have such national plans. I heard,
Are you thinking of Germany?
No.
Or France?
I heard, I do not know whether this is true or not, I heard about Luxembourg. And let's not forget that Luxembourg is the host of a number of major companies. I am sure, for instance, that probably Ireland has thought this through. But in any case, even if those plans existed, I don't think that they were in too much detail, because there was hope, that this would not happen. And only now the details would be really materialized and put into the plans. In any case, there is a common understanding that the Union has to be transformed, and all the countries have been busy this summer preparing their views on how this should happen. And now in Bratislava, at the informal council, they will start presenting them. I heard, for instance, some movements which would take place in the field of defense and security. Permanent structured cooperation would be activated. So there are a number of things which up until now were not considered feasible. But now they are considered. On the one hand, European Union is weaker, even in terms of security and defense, with Britain out. But at the same time, the situation around us is not improving. Plus, we have, the very, I would say, disquieting declarations coming from at least one candidate in the electoral course in the United States. So therefore, the times are inducing more attention to security and to defense, and how we can do that better, taking into account the fact that security has become a major concern for the European citizens.
Do you think that the Romanians will have problems in your country in the next years, taking into account what has happened exactly after the referendum, after the Brexit referendum, those attacks of Romanians, of immigrants in general?
I think we have to be honest. I think there are two types of problems. One is a problem of perception. And one are real problems. First, the problem of perception. These are problems of how people are being treated, how people are being perceived, looked at. And we have to be very honest. Much of this vote to leave was an anti-foreigner vote. We have to be honest. We know this. And it was a lack of respect of the contribution of good people who came, who paid their taxes, who worked very hard, stereotyping communities, not just Romanians but others. And I think that was wrong. But this is a lesson for everyone. If you have a referendum, you will have a lowest common denominator referendum. The referendum will not be on the highest values. A referendum will be on whether you dislike the government, you dislike foreigners, you are angry at your neighbours. Let's be clear, a referendum can be a dangerous tool. Sometimes it can work, but mostly, unfortunately, it can also be tough. So perception. Are there race attacks? Are there attacks? Unfortunately, you see with the Polish community, there have been some attacks. The Polish government, you may have seen, regards this as a big issue. I would say that there have been some, but people are very uncomfortable at the moment. We mustn't exaggerate how much, but there is an uneasy feeling. What is that feeling? I mean, and I want to say to your viewers, the feeling that people have is that you can say more negative things today than before the referendum, and that's really bad. The reality is that we haven't had Brexit yet. So once you have Brexit, then the negotiation may not go well. I don't see in any way how it's going to go well. It's how badly it goes. So, for example, they're already talking about an EU visa for Britons. What happens within the labour market? I mean, it can't be a good thing. It's going to be what spectrum of negative is it going to be? So the labour movement rules like work permits and so on are going to be bureaucratic, So perception and also reality. But the reality is now 2-3 years from now. But I've also already seen, I represent London, which is 9.5, 10 million people. It's the size of a country. It has hundreds of thousands of Romanians, Poles. The biggest French community outside France is in London. I mean, we have everyone. And are they happy about Brexit? They are angry about Brexit because they didn't have a vote. So no one is exaggerating the sense of attack. So please don't get the wrong impression. I don't want to exaggerate. But the sense of
frustration. No?
Yeah, the sense of frustration, the sense of desolation. We had a summer where my son, he's 6 years old, he goes to school with Romanians, Polish. My son, one of his best friends is Romanian at school. I never told you this.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, he's got Poles, French, Spanish in his class. And already he knows there's Brexit, and he's only 6 years old. So this is a reality for us.
What was his reaction? What did he say?
He said, Dada, this is, why did we leave Europe? Why did we have to leave Europe? And all his friends are saying, why? Why? And he also said, why do they not like us? Why don't they like my friends? Why do they not like us?
What was your explanation?
My explanation to him is that, unfortunately, we had a vote where some people were voting for the wrong reasons, about the wrong things. Not everyone, because some people voted and exercised their democratic right for the right reasons. And he needs to know that he's only 6, right? So not too much.
It's very difficult to explain to
after
him,
explaining that, we played football, So let's be not too much on a 6-year-old. But when he grows up, he's growing up amongst different communities, all of whom feel very confident in somewhere like London. They should feel confident. And I feel that this is one of the precious things we're losing about leaving the European Union. You can do the economy, labour market, but we are losing our internationalism a little bit. And of course we may restore it in years to come, but there has been a big detriment here. And that's not just in London. There are many parts of Britain, the cities, Manchester, Birmingham, where people think that this is a great thing, that we left. But they will realise that immigration doesn't stop anyway, and we have lost something very valuable. So, okay, I'm prejudiced. Some people want to leave, but I'm going to hear from those people. What advantage have we got so far in the economy, on immigration, on our public services? Nothing so far. It's all negative so far. So let's wait and see.
I think it will be nothing in the end also, but we'll see.
Is that a political opinion?
Yeah, it's my political opinion.
This is the difference of mentality between a Romanian and an Englishman.
I like this programme, and I like Romanians. They express their view stronger than the English and the British, but that's good, that's good. But look, if it's positive, that's fine, but so far, not so good.
Mr. Pașcu, in this situation, should we talk again about the Schengen community? Romania, is not a part of this community, and who knows when will be.
I just heard, that there was an announcement, I do not know whether it's true or not, by President Hollande today. He is visiting Romania, and when he visited Romania, he made that announcement. I do not know whether this is true or not. But essentially speaking, I personally give up because we have tried so many times. We have done everything possible, and still, there are reasons invented and passed from one country to another only to keep us out. It doesn't make sense.
The technical criteria is fulfilled.
But essentially, it's a political thing, which there is a certain consensus among the members of the Schengen area to really keep us out. Not everybody, but those who are really important. And it's enough that one is against it and we cannot make it. So I personally am inclined, that we should continue to live on. And if it comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Otherwise, I have no other suggestion, no other idea about it. And let me tell you, frankly, that I got bored to think of arguments which, irrespective of how intelligent they are, how logical they are, fell on deaf ears. So from this point of view, I wouldn't say that I'm optimistic. I try to be...
Is the discussion about Schengen affected in a positive way this time by the Brexit situation?
No, I think it's not. It's a question rather of the general situation. The EU is confronted with these waves of refugees, and it's important. The question would be, where do you have the border, the external border? And look, the external border has been in countries which did not defend that external borders. Now we have to step in and to defend it for them. I think, that Romania would have defended that border.
I agree.
So,
I'm chair of the committee that does Schengen, and I agree with Vice President Pascu, and I, as chair, have always wanted Romania to be in Schengen.
Yes.
And I have always defended this.
Many people wanted that.
And let me tell you, first of all, it is not affected by Brexit because the UK opted out and was not in Schengen. And I will be very clear. So let me go out of the stereotype and be forthright British and be very clear that, and be clearer even than this. It is a political message being sent to Romania not to be in Schengen, because I think Romania does fulfill the criteria. It is not just about the external border. It is a prejudice against Romania, which is not updated. It is an out-of-date concept about organised crime, about internal problems, about justice, and about internal issues of constitutional updates within the social society, civil society. Now, we need to update this because Romania is a full member of the European Union. And in order to grow, it needs its civil society, its journalism, its whole society to feel that it's valued. Schengen operation is one of those things. So let me be really strong about this. If people are watching, they need to know that the wrong political message is being sent by the European Union. They can talk about the external border, but the external border is in a crisis anyway. It's nothing to do with Romania in this sense. The problem for Romania is we haven't updated our view of Romania internally. The organised crime is high in Italy. It's high in the city of London, where we have money laundering. So we need to think about Romania being in Schengen, and it would send a better message if we could do this. So we need to up our campaign on this. And I agree. Of course there are problems, but there are problems in many EU countries. So the Schengen evaluation is to do with the citizens of France or Germany or Britain saying, oh no, we don't like Romania to be a member of the family. Well, you're not a full member of the EU unless you can be in Schengen.
That's exactly the point. Maybe some others outside from the European Union would like to see us with an inferior status, and they use their friends within the Union to give us that status.
Second-class status is not acceptable. It's sometimes good on a programme like this to hear it from somebody from a different country. Britain chose not to be in Schengen. Okay, now we're not even in the European Union or choosing not to be in the European Union. Maybe this is where it leads. Romania wants to be in the European Union. But how long can a country be given second-class status before the citizens become more prosperous, as Romanians will in time? And then they say, wait a minute, culturally, in terms of our civil society and other elements, we were not treated properly, then what happens? That's the problem. So the European Union...
Maybe a Romanian exit in the end?
No.
We don't know.
You know, you say that now, but of course, people start to feel, were we treated properly? Were we treated as first-class citizens or second-class? And that's where the European Union needs to think now, not later. And this is why our members of the European Parliament and others, when they say, as the Vice President says, and as other MEPs have been continually fighting for first-class status here, we have to listen. I mean, when I say it, what I find is the old arguments, you know, oh, but Romania judiciary is like this. Well, you know, let's be fair. If you go to the southern states of Italy, you have organised crime and judiciary problems. You know, let's be fair. Hungary today. Okay, I'm going to get some hate mail now. But let's be fair, okay? There are problems in many countries. I'm not saying Romania doesn't have problems, but I'm saying it has its problems, it does. But we need to update and continually update where we should be. Otherwise, the European Union is going to get into trouble.
Can we do something more for us?
No, I think, you know, that lowering the standards right now, it would be wrong. I think that once we have reached at this level, we should keep up the standards. We should keep doing our job, because you know that tomorrow, if we do that, immediately we would be told that we cannot be accepted because we do not. Yeah. We are not conform to the standards. So therefore, you know, this is the trick. Yeah. But I would say, you know, for instance, that there are also collateral victims of this policy towards Romania. Not so much about Bulgaria, but about Romania. And this is Croatia. Because in a way, Croatia, when she was accepted, she was also left out of Schengen. And I think, you know, I personally think, maybe I'm wrong, that they were kept out in order to give some sort of objectivity to the decision to keep Romania and Bulgaria out. And said, look, not everybody automatically gets into that. Look at Croatia. And actually they are the victims of the initial misjudgment about Romania and probably Bulgaria. So I think, you know, but the time would certainly compel those who are managing all these aspects to revise the position. And at that time, we should also be at the level of implementing all the technicalities.
This is a very interesting point because, of course, your viewers will know Romania and Bulgaria have now been members of the EU for a long time. And this is what people must realise. And therefore, we are not now in a situation where we're talking about new members.
Yeah.
So that longevity means, let's be fair, and Schengen membership now is overdue.
Thank you so much both for being with me. Let's hope that the Brexit will be as slow as possible and as good as possible for both sides, let's say, for the citizens of the European Union and the former European Union, that of 28 states. Thank you so much. Vouă celor de acasă vă spun să rămâneți pe Antena 3. Ne revedem și sâmbătă viitoare la BIU. Să aveți o zi bună!